Good morning. Or whatever it is, wherever you are. This actually reminds me, I don't think I've looked at if there's been a leaflet update in a while. I just want to do that right now. 2020, I'm pretty sure I've updated since then. I guess it's just done. It's almost 2021. Well, 3 days. It's a plugin thing. Oh no, that's the commit. I want the history. Plugins. Well, I mean, they're still doing little patch updates. Maybe there'll be more. Alright, so what were we doing for, like, dev mode here? It was somewhere downstream from this. It was jump to time. It was scrub time, maybe? No. Set time range? Okay. We had this working pretty much as is. So much as I want to get some data on there, I think I actually need to get this kind of going multi-level to make sense. So if we just start drawing, well, we're already kind of drawing two of them, but... and I might need to have a hover mode at some point here. So this was drawing two of those things. Okay. So I think we're only gonna have one of these. And that has not yet really changed. So it's going to be a one piece. Well, I guess this piece can just sort of sit here. So the other piece has to get pulled out. And I already kind of pulled it out. Now we're going to need some borders and things here. There might eventually be some rendering differences, but we need to have something there. Would it work? I have to do four-sided borders, don't I? I could do top and bottom. Might just do a color there too. Oh, hey, how about we close that, huh? All right, we're gonna need multiple things. What color is that? Foreground, background. So this is control. That's sufficient. Oh, actually, I have a thing for it. And it's time to clean the printer. Always sneaks up on you. Yeah, it's weird how it just kind of suddenly stops. It's never like it kind of gradually slows down. Background could have worked for that. It could be like two things sitting on top of something. And we'll eventually get better differentiation. But now we have to deal with multiple levels of data. And I have to decide if I'm going to do like there's a fixed number of levels, or you can just kind of keep on going. Okay. Now, also this time is going to be the same. And we have to have a range. That's not going to necessarily be true anymore. Oh, at present we do always have a range, which actually be kind of mean we have an implicit selection. So if we consider that, that was a list map. You know, this stuff might end up moving to the bottom. Just because of the time bar is going to keep on moving up. So you're part of the column or part of the row? Well, there's no open bracket there, so that has to be part of it. Oh, but that's going to become the open bracket. Ooh. That doesn't give me a clean border. I mean, we can add a border to it. But it was good for that. This just happens to be the same as my map background color. If we start putting data on there, that might change. So if I leave it alone, I get to treat this thing as a free border. We'll see how that looks when it starts moving. All right, so we've got an always on bar that, well, it's still going to be we still have to determine what the time range is. That might be that we can just go into like the server or something and figure out what that is. So current arc, we are not passing any server information down. So if we go into here, this is that range. So we know it's there somewhere. So we get the full model, we get the selected server. We get a server min time and a server max time. Anyway, helper function. And you're already returning a float from server time because we're using this in that kind of control. I think I was just going to int for the timeline stuff. Which is actually in you. Yeah. Millie's POSIX. In fact, I was passing POSIX to you. So I'll even have less work to do there. So that's going to be... don't know. It's going to be a while. I suspect. I might be overly ambitious in what I want to do here. I probably do need to make more time for doing dev stuff, just so I can get through things faster. I mean, a few days ago, I did a couple little fixes. I went ahead and pushed those out. I mean, hopefully it's things you never noticed that were a little broken. But yeah, this is a complete rewrite of time selection. I guess I'm a little worried that it might not be as intuitive to use, so maybe I'll need to leave some of this stuff up. But ideally, you'll like never need to use it if you know how this works. I'm not really sure how to communicate, like, we're going to have multiple levels of range selection and stuff. I mean, like, this is like, okay, you grab the pointer and you move it. People probably get that. I mean, maybe if I click, by default does a very, very small range, you could kind of figure it out. Or a click only defaults to some amount of range. You kind of figure out, okay, you can move that around. Or maybe we need to get into moving the handles. So of all time, I could do a fixed number of layers. But other than that first thing where we get the range from there, then it's all just kind of going to be based on sub-selections. Well, right now we have the server and we have a time range, so we can kind of get the multi-bar thing going. I just have to redo this using some of this server time almost stuff. Oh, what's an aggregate? Oh, you're, oh, aggregator. Okay, so you are minimum or maximum, so we were putting a wrapper around that. Current. Now, why do we have... Oh, if there is no current server, we do all servers, which I don't think that should happen much, but... Field. Okay, so this is summing up two things. Yeah. So I kind of have to duplicate these, and then if I drop the other ones, I can flip it around. The duplication is kind of annoying, though. I could convert these back to POSIX, which seems kind of silly, or maybe I need to take these and then have like a POSIX to float that I use where all of these things are currently. Actually, this is just using that two spots. Actually, did I have... Yeah, we had POSIX to float with a base time. These are all 0. So if I made these, just return the POSIX directly. Oh. The aggregate might not work on POSIX. Okay, so I have to test this without doing anything else because it would break all the type signatures of stuff. Okay. And the other problem here is that I won't be calling these things with any of those actual functions. So it's like, sure, we can imagine that that function exists. Function that expects, oh, with default 0. Okay. Then I have to do at least one of these to see if the list.maximum works. POSIX is not comparable. Well, I guess in that case... yeah, started converting this. No, I still don't have the map here. We would want to do what? POSIX to millis, aggregate, default, back to POSIX if we had to do this nothing case, which hopefully we never do. And then it's not a map anymore. I think actually I'm going to rename and remove the other one, but if we're just trying this out, we can't do that. Yes. So you're actually going to be int. Or is POSIX float? Oh, the time package was float. This is comparable or compatible. Nope, it's definitely int. All right, so if you all switch to POSIX, then these are only used in two places. We can flip that around. Okay. So I just got a start and an end. That start and end. I only use start and end here. Well, I'm decompressing it from there. So we kind of have to bust that out if we're doing time range. That's not actually going to be the way that works in the future. Oh, what arguments do you need? You need all the servers and the current server, which we're not currently passing down here. Unless I pass those particular times through. So either I get that time range as an argument, or I have to pass those attributes through. We're going to be passing through some other data. I think it's mostly going to be the sort of derived stuff. I want to get one of these down because I'm not sure those are quite the right arguments. And I just added you at the end. This is kind of going to go into this stuff. You could be a time range yourself. It's not how we're going to end up using it, though. But maybe we should be passing that as a range? Okay, so that is not it. Server min time. Model.servers selected server, which is a process. Current server must have been something else. Which I don't know if we had a let block in there before. Yeah. Okay, now we can do max time. Oh, if I passed a maybe time range, I could just have this thing not render itself if it was nothing. Start, min time. Right. Okay. Wait. Okay, so I've made some assumptions about what we're receiving here in terms of where that sits. So what we have to record here is we either have to pass the range in our down, or we have to somehow note which range control it is, so we can figure that out later. Oh, am I making assumptions in the actual decoder here? No, you're pretty raw. Timeline, screen to time. This model, maybe since there's a screen relation, I should be in view. Yeah. So we're assuming model.timeRange. What else would we need from model here? Sidebar, window width. That's kind of about it, though. So I think my drag mode, we might want to include the range of the thing being dragged. That might allow it to go outside of the range of an individual bar. Fill portion, fill portion. Yeah, we're not being very careful with our things here. No, these are the mins and maxes. It's the value of this bar, which we don't have needs to be clamped to its min and max. Or we have to somehow say we're not going to draw it if it's out of range. Which is actually an interesting question. If you take the current point out of the selection, what happens? Well, in principle, anything on a lower bar is going to be completely repositioning the time, so maybe that won't matter. Anyway, it probably will matter in the interim. Oh. when I get to the point of making selections, that's going to be modifying a particular time bar's range, so we do have to know which one it is. And right now we currently have no way to refer to them. It might just be indexes. Which might mean we'd actually want to use an array for it. Because I don't yet know what the limit's going to be. And then we would kind of start to build out functions that would get us ranges and things based on which bar it is. And I keep putting off like storing data. Right now there's this kind of implicit thing where this is all time, this is going to be whatever our selected range is, and we eventually extend that. Okay. So when we're doing a drag on a particular timeline, we have to know like what the range of that stuff is. So for the drag, we just have to care that it's in range. For rendering, we need the range and eventually the selection. I see. Once again, naming. This might just be timeline. Would that be a name? That would be a name collision. Maybe the view needs to change. I guess I haven't really been using like the display whatever pattern here. All right, lazy is a name collision. Maybe we should still do it for consistency. I just have been doing this in general here. All right. Timeline. All right, so for now... Oh, this will eventually be array lookup, so... It's going to be a maybe. So this is going to look a lot like... So we're not going to care about that. It's like we would need that information. And... Okay, so start end is all we're really using right now. We don't actually have selections yet. And time actually isn't going to be variable. But it might be convenient to have there. So what does start and end even mean here? Okay, and then you need a bunch of functions that were in view. Although I might... So the min and max server would in fact be timeline settings. So we could use that. So 0 is going to be from min. You needed model dot servers. Oh, and this. So you do. Model dot servers indeed. Huh. So you were a maybe and this thing is a maybe. That's... I might actually be able to flow that through and just have a maybe from the entire thing. But the code that's calling this is expecting an answer. And then our interim one is... Okay, so what do? You were yourself a case. Interestingly enough, if this... Well, it would be a record of ranges, not Because I could do this as like timeline range as a tuple, and selection range as a tuple. Right, this whole thing is itself a maybe. And then in any other case, we don't have these timelines defined yet. Let's get this lined up. And I guess everything else is indented here. All right, are you compilable? You are compilable. Now, can we perchance use you here? Yeah, okay, so we were basing this off of that. This doesn't have any indication of... So it was timeline 1 technically at this point. If we're calling this a drop-in. Oh, for timeline purposes, that's +1. I was probably handling that. Yes. Well, oh, and you know what? This is the POSIX to millis conversion, so we just have to... those were min and max. Maybe I need to just call these something else. You are kind of arbitrary. Now, I guess I didn't have to deconstruct this here. I could have let this as just like line or something. All right, so if we future update this to pass in the number, that could in theory work for more than one. You do have a model. Theory work for more than one kind of timeline here. And actually, how much model do you need? Well, we need the entire list of servers, so it's not necessarily going to be a small thing. Okay. Next, I guess we'd want to pass a timeline, and that will eventually update to other things. Let's start by passing it and then replace. I guess I'm not actually breaking this out of these, so it shouldn't be a collision. So this will, I'm basing this on the model right now. I guess what I'm going to end up with is an array of timelines. But this intermediate step is ugly. Now this function technically returns maybes, which I guess that's actually true. Means 0 should always be there. So we're kind of starting to have to deal with some of that stuff. I'm going to subsume a few of these fields. Maybe that would be better as a separate argument. So we could pipeline it. Or rather, that's going to be a maybe.maps. We still got a bunch of, we still got parentheses. I guess I could flow this if I did another maybe map. They're going to be another big parenthesized thing then. Or just another parenthesized block. So if you took a maybe, I could have this thing take a maybe and return a none. Although then my wrapper would still be doing a border. Oh, actually, yes, that I still have to deal with maybes here. So that means well, eventually this should be a loop. Maybe. Ah, yes. Now, previously we had separated all the types. Now this, since it's not a model field, actually will be a conflict. So you don't feel like you've gotten an argument. Oh, right, at the pipeline, you know. All right, so that should be able to assume this. Which means I don't need you anymore, unless I use it for other things. Which means I don't directly depend on this anymore. Okay, so these are still locked here. You're still doing that. All right, so our global events aren't going to have any understanding of what we've clicked on. You will. So I could put a wrapper type around timeline so it's not just an integer. I can, that's already going to break things. We can do a little bit around that. Can't just call it timeline. So this at least documents what it is, and that makes it a little bit easier to change out later. So timeline down. I mean, we still kind of know it's an index. Okay, that does not, the timeline down ended up in more than one place. Oh, we have to add, how about that? You don't know your own index. And I called it an ID. Now I'm getting confused about index and ID again. Oh, and now it's an argument. More parentheses. All right, that won't actually do anything because we're not using it in our range yet. Actually, this is the one that would matter. All right, compiler happy. All right, so that's the coordinate window width and sidebar. Be a little bit annoying to deal with breaking those out, although it's only a 2-for-1 exchange right now. Huh. Or could I get the timeline and pass that in? Because that's the things we're going to need. We're basically doing that here. It's a little bit less model. Oop. Oh, you were actually, where do we handle the maybe? It's like we're getting a message it should exist, but I guess there could always be a state change in the middle or something. What does this look like? We're expecting to get a time out of this. Oh, so in the future, that's going to go into dragging, and we're going to use that for other events. So if it's a maybe timeline, I guess we... Or I could just deal with it here. Does timeline does take an entire model. We could have the scaling factor be part of it. Then we wouldn't need model in the screen to time thing, because those are all our model references. So we would attempt to figure out what it is. We have to switch on. Well, see, the first one we have the ID in the message. We hope that will turn into an actual thing. If it does, we do something. If we don't, it's just a no-op. The others we also have to break out dragging to. So you got these exactly the same. Not exactly the same, because up implies a release. Although, if we once again pass the model through, I could probably make a function for it. Probably, if it's a timeline function, it shouldn't be dealing with maybes. Means we have to deal with it elsewhere, but the fact that the lookup failed isn't necessarily your concern. I have to change all our calls. Now, you guys don't have an index yet. Do we want to maybe map this? I guess we only care about the time in this case. It's not going to be the final argument to this thing, though, so we still have to alias it to a thing somehow. Your model. Command none. You guys still have to get something, though. And we still have to deal with the possibility that could be nothing. So it's been running one so far. Really? Ah. And now we've triplicated our mistake. I over-deleted, didn't I? Southern Elm. Case nothing. Ah, yes. Once again, triplicating the mistake. but it wouldn't compile in the with only one of them fixed, so it was kind of a tough spot. So this is weird, because you would actually do this one, and then all the others are going to default to 1. Drag was in model, wasn't it? So we will eventually need the other time. This might be the only place dragging actually shows up. Yep, and now we need it. And if we are released, then is there no op? And this, can this go be a model update? We lose a little bit of our context there. We just need the X, and we want a point. Now, having the commands here. Oh, do you have message? I'm gonna get that from there. This is actually the coordinate. You don't have message. Now, you don't actually send commands. But you do call other model things. This is kind of a direct helper, because I guess most things in some sense are direct helpers for update. Of course, maybe this means that some of these other functions could actually just be model functions. Okay, 282. What? Am I covering up a... Yes, I am. Oh, are you actually afloat? Oh, scrub time can send messages. Okay. technically, I could do this and use this same thing because we would put the index into drag and then it would get it from here. Not model. Oh. So the drag doesn't do anything. We don't necessarily get our final position then. Unless we capture it first. So that becomes a little complication for our, oh, we'll just pass through the modified model. And then it doesn't even necessarily need to be a function. Oh, that needs the derived value. Okay, we are seeing the update proportionally. That's very expensive. I guess I went off the edge. It's kind of working. I think if you're going out of range, we'll eventually actually just turn these off. And then one other thing we wanted to do. And this is going to be some changes in both files. We saw the possibility. Let's see. So that's going to add one field to our timeline. You're a float? No, you're probably an int. We do have this. This is going to be the same regardless of what else we do. It's just kind of get the model out of the other spots. I don't know if anyone's going to care that we added a field to that. Okay, they're all good. Then you meet only this once, I think. Can use it from there, and then we don't need this. So we don't need this. And because I'm doing this twice, I almost wonder if We should be storing that. But I might want to be asking it what its actual time is, not what its waiting values are. I think I'm going to leave the automatic time view because it just be turning on and off every time. Oh, I duplicated server min and server max time. I have to deal with the maybe here. Okay, that is a legal statement. Do I need select? I might need other stuff from selected server. No, I don't think I do. Well, it's going to appear here. Oh. Oh, I shouldn't need these at all. What are we doing with drag? When drag occurs released, okay. Multiple kind of hard-coded timelines. Hmm. So time range is kind of a pervasive thing. Maybe you would still have the derived value there. Yeah, that'd be our playtime. Well, it's already a maybe, so that... I could see model caring about that. Okay, so you're a different time range. I think I need to... I need to do you just to get rid of collisions here. This is timeline. So this is part of our hard-coded thing, so that's fine. Timeline basic. Reason it is a display condition. Oh. Do I need you? I don't need you anymore. Yes, you're not actually used for very much here. And I could get this from this stuff if I needed to. And then model, we said, wasn't much. It is this thing. It's going to be kind of all over the place. Leaflet.data range. Preference a selection of some sort. Arc to range, getting the arc list. Span to range, getting the span list. Playback. Set time range from jumping. Oh, this is when some other event causes us to move around. So we're probably going to have parallel ranges for a while. And I'm going to have to loop back and see where we can make this storage the same. Yeah, time selection for time could get hairy. So what can I do? I can, if I get the spot where I can display a range, then we'll have a way to feedback selecting it. So I've been calling this a time range. Because it's partially because it was like there either is a selection or there isn't. Like the min and max values of, I mean that could be a non-maybe tuple. As the time range exists or not existed as a pair. They were very much linked. Although it might get inconvenient to have them be different data structures. So maybe you've got a time range. Time change. This doesn't get into the actual real-world storage of this yet. But it starts to get it where we can use it for display and things. And the trivial version of this is nothing, nothing. Maybe. One of my favorite words. And then 0 does that. Now we can go display it. Which could be a problem, the way we've done our pointer. Okay, so you're the overall thing. I'm going to have to do this conversion again. Maybe in a subsection? So this could be kind of an overlay thing, but so we have done background on the row, so that color is there. This doesn't have to worry about the pointer itself taking up space. Is behind content in front of the background? Just grab something here. It appears that it is. I guess I could use the same kind of thing. It's that we'd be calculating different portions. So this is going to be quite the little subprogram here. Do I make, well, I'm going to need some of these intermediate values. Okay, so that should say that one of these has a selection, one of them doesn't. And then the actual content of this do you need a height? You might need a height. Wait, where'd my nothing go? Okay. Lost our closing bracket. So that's going to be a perfect overlap. You're not going to see any difference. This is where we have to do our let block. I guess for parity I should be doing that. All right, and then we need start minus. You're actually going to need to have a size. Which is going to be end minus start. And I have to figure out what color to use here. Ooh, look at that tiny little sliver. Yeah, unfortunately, it's not very much on this scale. I can go back. I can go to 7 days. Still not very much. I can go to an entire arc. Now that's something. Edge behavior still isn't great. I might need a color especially for you. There's a highlight. There's an input. Actually, this is probably input, isn't it? Okay, so more or less the same thing. Selected. And Lunar was here. Thank you for the follow. Okay, so that's probably going to get too bright as we get into... that'll probably be just those... Well, these are all arcs. It is a selection. Map terrain. So the only thing I'm working on right now is the time bar. If you're referring to back here, these are only available after the map resets. So you can't view it for current stuff. And it's also only available for Big Server 2. But, I mean, oddly enough, that's kind of where it started. We're only kind of in arc mode right now. If I zoom out, I should be able to tell which one was the... Oh, actually, that's it. I'm more familiar with 0, 0. First version was this thing. And actually, I did a little bit of screenshotting around the time of the Rift, I think. But then the seeds became random and storing all of these tiles became impractical, so I had to switch to generation, which is a lot slower. Okay, so I did from here, which didn't change the selection, which is those interactions is something I have to work on. Oh, and that knocked us out of actually knocked us out of time mode because it's like, we have no times data here. That will change eventually. So we've had some form of, well, the Rift was back here with the initial batch, and then most of Big Surfer 2 has been post Rift. All right, we have the ability to display. What was that? I made it a zoom. And the ability to display those. That wasn't too bad. I could also do selection or click selection. I mean, even the 2 would be a little bit useful. I mean, you can't get this is not enough precision to do the types of things you might want to do. It would be a little bit useful. And I'm basically going to need that before I can do anything with multiple bar levels. And technically, this bar should only exist if we have a selection. But that should work out itself out later. The entire constants is just a stopgap. It's not much. So we have a way to render it if we make it. This place... If I do selection, this place is going to have a place to put it. I guess I just constant 0 to update the time range. And figure out what we have to do for that. That means... Or do I create the storage first? Because that's just a pure data structure modification We need the drag. That means we have to start caring about drags, though. And see, you were just a release. We're actually gonna have to start caring about doing stuff off of this, which means it's gonna look a lot like this. Maybe I just... And I said I'd have to break the index out of here and then call this thing... So we call this function exactly once. That was less useful than I had hoped. And then you're going to have to do, well, it might be different stuff, but... No, time model. Oops. No, I don't really have anything to look at, do we? Not that it really matters for what we're doing. I guess all I really wanted to look at was... Oh, this is still out of a really wide range, isn't it? Oh, let's still select this as the range, huh? The point is the drag still works. Now, if we were dragging, and it was a valid timeline, which actually, I guess these could be a double case. No, because I need the index to actually do this one. We would start to care about the start position. And this would be conditional on it being, at the moment, I should probably just do a function for this. Maybe I could do it, maybe this little bit is a function. It's almost I'd have to pass a model update to it to generate. Oh, because scrub time is currently. Maybe this could be thought of as a timeline function. But this calls a whole bunch of other functions, and this is like doing update, stacking, which isn't kind of pure model stuff. Do I have to send a message when I update the range? So I'm wondering if I can do a model function that says, okay, this timeline is updating, it's had a range selection of blah. And I'm wondering if I could use the dragging for that. But I have to undo this just to get the index. And then the thing we're ultimately calling is doing all this command management stuff. I could have it... I could have it pass down a time. Or update the model and then do a time. Yeah, but then this one is getting the index from someplace else. It's not from getting from dragging, so it's kind of bleh, kind of meh. You ended up being a timeline function too. So this is going to be kind of an interim thing. I'm going to need a way to unset the range. I think. I'm not actually sure which argument should be last here. And really, in our hacked up interim version, this is all we're doing. It's just kind of a hook for later. You can't stack these updates on functions. It has to be at least in here. I guess really we're not updating anything if it wasn't there. From start to... Oh, you need a time. No, you take a... Nope, that's not an undo. You take a model, you take a model. So that stacks. Could I structure this? Oh. It's not that simple because I don't know if we went left to right or right to left. And we've already turned these into posixes, so we have to turn them back into milliseconds to figure out which is which. I guess I only have to do the conversion and comparison once. That's just an if. All right, I called it base because I was thinking I was going to do like a new start and end. I didn't want to deal with doing the test and defining multiple things. Doing the test twice to define things twice. And there's the model. No, just all the way down here. We could use a preview on that. Huh. I guess that would mean an interactive range. Which, I guess that could get expensive. Now, I don't know if there's any other map stuff I'm going to have to do as a consequence of changing range. Maybe I don't want to be doing that interactively. And I might eventually be able to separate the selection for the timeline from what we're actually displaying on the map. But that means we have to do all of this stuff during drag. And so maybe there is a common function there somewhere? You're only drag released, so you actually, it's this one that depended on information. This one doesn't depend on information we got out of there. And I never tested doing this way. This one won't do anything because we don't have hooked up its right. Okay. This is getting bigger. I think the only difference is the initial model. When I initially tried to do this, I ended up with something different. for the up case, where it didn't quite work. Did we do any other model updates inline? Huh. Why didn't that work? Oh, and you see I've got a set time range. Well, scrub time's probably doing that. Middle. And then this is just going to be here, because you have to be doing that update. This by itself does not track. Oh, it was a float. Oh, maybe I do need to do something different here as a commit once we get into actually setting time range. And we typoed this again. First argument, all right. You also all right, for the moment, that works. Now, maybe I shouldn't be interactively updating the actual map for this. It might be a little bit more performant if we did that. That would be a move thing versus an up thing, and now we don't have a function anymore. Although I could take the result of this and say, okay, now we're going to grab the timeline range and actually make it the map range. But we don't have a separate timeline range. Visible timeline selection. Actually, just timeline selections, I guess. All right, so the data storage for this, I think, is just gonna have to be an array of timeline selections, which I believe it will be okay to not have those be maybes. And it's just like, if it exists, then there's a selection. If it doesn't, then there's not. I guess it'd be near time range. Time range drag. Oop. Wasn't the only one. What are you doing here? Timline. Now, what's going to be a little bit annoying here is there are times where I'm going to set a selection from other places. And that's going to have to get reflected in these things, which I probably want to separate for the interactive drawing portion. But interactive portion first. Also, this is effectively going to define how many timelines there are. Okay, so index. Maybe this could still write back to model time range. So we might do this. We also have to do is there like an array replace? I know there's a dict replace. Well, you just be setting it. Oh. But it has a well, that would hmm. Because if there's no selection for basically this is going to be empty if there's no selection in the first thing. Index is 0. If it's less than or equal to, if index is 0 and it's less than or equal to, we can't set it if it's length 0. So So if it's less than... If length is 1, 0 is less than 1. Maybe I just want to let the new array. I did make you a maybe. Probably should have kept that. Nothing means we're actually deleting this index. Which means we want to, I think I saw like a slice. Array.slice. We want from 0 to index. So if we're setting 0 to nothing, we're going to take 0 to 0. Can be negative indicates... Well, 0 to index minus 1. Wait, this says pop. Get a subsection. No, that means get the end. All right, I need a little break. Be back in a minute. Oh, okay, so yeah, I guess the gravity's getting a little bit weird. Maybe I need the trailer for stability.
Or I don't know, maybe it's time to like just bring a habitat and stuff down here.
Well, I did a habitat up there, and I just wanted to get the...
I am just seeing that trailer doing barrel rolls.
Lovely dupes. That's what we were looking for. Tutorial. Reducing a lot of the recipes down to around... Oh, you're kidding me! That's just rude. Never built this close to the Aurora before. Yep. Ah! Well, I can at least try to get near to the truck. Or actually, I could even try to get near to home base from this height. See, you gotta make that body retrieval easy. You just put it right along the path, pick it up on your way back to the truck. Welcome back. So the model I want here is not making for easy data manipulations here. Nothing. So let's consider the cases that are not zero. If we're setting 1 to nothing, we want to slice 0 to indeed -1. But -1, if it's a 1-element entry, would pull it from the entry, so we would have to care. Is it the same thing? Oh, up to but not including. So 0, 0 would actually work. Actually, this is not recompilable yet. Why are you complaining down here? Oh, because I was trying to type some stuff out and then didn't. To keep this functional-ish, actually, this is going to go by the tightest range eventually. What if we just left this out for now? I think I have a feeling I might end up as a let block and then, or maybe this could just be a big old model update. Okay, we're missing an argument somewhere. So array.set. Yes. What is this going to do now? This should allow us to set the selection in the other bar, but not really to do anything with it. Okay, well, we've already failed. Oh, because we don't pull it back out ever. Now that lets us set data, when we get our timeline, and this is like a complete rewrite. Well, 0 is still a bit of a special case. And actually, I can whip this in real easy within these two. God, it doesn't. I mean, we're still moving our pointer around. We're not moving our range around. So this is going to become all cases. We're going to become disassociated from time range for a little bit. Actually, but then you're like index. Let's see, are you index -1 or +1? No, you're actually defined by index -1. And then you are defined by, so 1 is defined by the range of 0, and then its selection is 1. And this could be an if statement now. We're only drawing the number of these that that we had constants in before. All right. Okay, the border I'm going to have to go back and figure out. And the way of passing these, because I just did this as 1 and 0. Oh, and that was using them. So this becomes... I guess we duplicate this for now. Actually, I guess I only need the length here? Maybe you can have a function for like number of timelines. Oh, this is going to be +1 because we always show 0. Maybe that would be a good function. So this is not going to be iterating over the list, per se. Or I need to store it differently so that this initial case isn't 0. Oh, you're gonna... we can just do a cheeky little row here, right? I may have a function at all timelines. And we just stick the border on there every time? All right, so are we doing anything else different? No, you shouldn't have had anything different. And why don't you do a reverse? Oh, yeah, we actually have to... We actually have to convert you into a timeline, huh? Um, timeline creation requires the model. So if the length is 0, it's a list... But actually, our list range 0, 0, 3, and 6. And we haven't adjusted our other codes yet, but this isn't quite working. Okay, I never know the other code we were trying to list that range before. No, this is just a list.map. Lost a parenthesis. Need to fix up indentation. Oh, I typed this. We converted a list, so it's a list. Right, we did a bunch of array lookups. No. Yes. The way we're doing this, we could basically know that they exist, but we don't know that they exist. Well, these were all maybes, and I took out the maybe map. I was like, oh, we're just doing a list instead of a maybe now. Wouldn't that have been nice? I could just filter map that. It might leave some weird gaps. Okay, that did not... Okay, we're obviously drawing two things here. At least two things. Why are you not stacking? Maybe because you're not? No, that's the parent. Why? When I did... Oh, because this is a column. So those are actually side by side. Yep, needs to be reversed. It's a display issue. Increasing by 1. So I can't just count down. So this is terminally silly. Oh, I probably need to put limits on what can be arranged to. No, that didn't create what was on a drag. Think. Well, it didn't create a timeline. Okay, that did not clear the list. So we need to truncate regardless. This is gonna go to index +1. Also, let's see if that's the case. And then we eventually have room to do time range in here. Once we figure out exactly how to pick which one it is. Should basically be the highest one. Okay. So if nothing, we unset that entry. If we set it, then we truncate everything else. I don't suppose there's a convenience operator for that. I mean, slice can obviously do it. Nope. Okay. Hmm. So being able to do this on arbitrary levels, what I probably have to do is I have to somehow note that you grabbed the pointer, and then not do a selection on that point. Okay, so we want the time range to be the time range of the top selection. Although arguably it goes back to everything if not, and that I don't have a good case for that. We have push and append, we don't necessarily have pop. That's basically pop. It is, well, time range is a maybe, so that's kind of okay. Although that might force our timeline off. Wait, is it really 0 if it's -1? Now, I need to do this on the consequent array. Also, I'm not sure it's going to be super clear from the interface what that range is. Ah. Oh no, that's index 1 in. So this is pop off the last one. So what's the last entry then? Well, we've just truncated it. So actually, this is kind of whatever we set. We're going to reset it if it's anything else. Do you say anything about what it is? Yeah, I'm probably not doing the types of things I would need to do to make this interface update. I think this is a control in and of itself. That has a range for the arc. Yeah, they. Hmm. They probably have to interact with that eventually. Okay, so that can leave the selection, but it's. I might need to make this thing bigger. More akin to this so it can be grabbed easily. And then if you're in open space, you can do a selection. Which might mean we shouldn't also be doing this. Well, right now, that's setting our time range, which could be expensive. But we got multiple levels in. Psst. It's maybe a little bit too crazy. Actually, this is kind of related because right now it's virtually impossible to just drag a slider around. Variable timelines. The thing I worry about with this, with a big thumb, is like being able to see selection, but I guess that's kind of what we have these for. It's like if it's a small selection here, it's going to be impossible to see, but then we have this thing and you can zoom into that more. But now our dragging state has to include not only which bar we're on, but was it a thumb drag or a background drag? Now that can probably be a mode. We would call this selecting. I think of it as drag action, but I need to distinguish. Oh, maybe we could call that scrubbing. We still need to know which one we're dragging. And this is going to. Hmm. Does this mean I would actually do the mouse down on a conventional event? Because I'm going to have to otherwise I'm going to have to figure out the pixels of the coordinate. Or maybe if I attach event handler to the background and to the foreground. Because I mean, that would almost just turn into, well, map time got different values, so it's not quite the same thing. Or was it? Yeah, that's just scrub time model. Well, it's only gonna come down to these events for the actual scrubbing. All right, we're going to deal with this. Every do redo model.drag. All right, how much of this do we have to do? We do have to figure out the position. We don't have to figure out the range. We don't have to set U. Now. Because this could be a different event coming in. So that is the row handler. I actually have to define another event to test this, though. It's the scrub per se. Let's see if that captures. Now this could be a, I have to do prevent upward events. So we're doing HTML events, aren't we? So that basically becomes custom. Stop propagation. Okay. So now we just need to make it bigger. 40, 40, 40, 45. And we could probably figure out what some of those styles are. I should look at the source for that before. And we could kind of figure out what it is. It's basically just a circular element. It's got this focus effect, which is interesting. It looks like it has an actual border on it too. Which means it might need to be a little bit smaller than that. Oh yeah, you're the big boy. No, actually. Okay, so you're 16. 16. Rounded 8 with 1. You don't include the... And you have built-in colors. Which I guess just never ended up being a problem for me. Unless I was able to override that somehow. Because that's gray with a white border. Oh no, border.color, gray, yeah. Now I haven't set a border color here. So that is kind of my foreground color. Yeah, so I guess these are actually a little bit whiter. I don't have a color for you even. Because like nothing gets that white and dark theme. Yeah, no, foreground's the brightest thing. Do I have a border? And a divider. Which reminds me, no, I ended up putting divider on everything. It doesn't look great how it lines up, actually. I understand why it's doing that because of the proportionality of it. Yeah, going to the edge feels really bad. I don't know if there's a good solution for that. Being able to drag this out of the range is a little weird. I might have to kill the range if it goes out. Or should I clamp you to your own range? Oh yeah, and now is that a thing that happens normally or just when I'm... Yeah, that's a thing that happens normally. What do you do for focus? Thumb shadow style. No, doesn't seem... Flag active. So you're getting an actual, like... No. Maybe it's Chrome that has the built-in style thing. Or maybe that's over here. Hmm. I wonder if I could use that somehow. So when it's selected, that's going to be something with... Huh, that's going to over the entire thing. Oh, because that's the input, because this is actually what's behind it. And which way... Okay, so your class changed. This is apparently changing focus. I wonder if it's doing this as like adjacency classes based on the focus status of the input. Like yeah, as soon as I click something. So that must be what it's doing. And I can't actually use the interface while that's on. Oh, those are the fills, so this is the actual thing. Oh, that's changing the position, that's what. So it's not changing the classes on it. Okay, so focusable thumb. Yeah, if the input has focus, it's using a class a element adjacency rule. And that is in fact box shadow. So I'd have to use a actual slider control for that. I think the slider control is actually handling the input events. So then I can't do this. I guess to be fully correct about this positioning, I'd have to like knock out some space on either end that where since it's effectively can't travel over there. Or this would have to be able to go halfway off. I wonder if it's possible to detect a, maybe I can get a mouse out of window or a mouse left body message. Well, I have leave. But it's probably the last interior position. I could guess based on which side it was closer to. All right. So map UI. We are calling scrub time. It's just doing a bunch of updates there. Set time range. Yeah, this is the thing that can turn us off if we're not currently animatable. Which this is actually just going to stop being necessarily the case. Because this is still our time selection interface. Maybe this function goes away. Well, what I do need to do at some point here is get things that set the time range to also set the visible bar range. So this fixes our drag behavior so that we can still do this. I should probably limit this to range. But then you're going to start, this thing's going to start out with no range. Oh, that counts as a jump. Which, I mean, that would be the ordinary behavior of it. It's not yet a drag. Well, so a down event here. Maybe that should just clear the range. I could see that occasionally having unwanted effects. Or this should always be setting some... Well, actually, I'm going to have some background stuff that is going to take over for this. Where it's going to be like you click on a arc or a span or something. So this was, we distinguished grab. So now it's not just like down and up. Although maybe that will end up having some other meaning later. So probably swap those. Yes, I still need to track the events. Now, I'm currently using up and leave as the same event. Huh. Since the timeline we have to have this thing where the timeline has a width, maybe I could just give it the X and say, hey, we left. Guess where we're at. Yeah, we don't have a way to really clear selection. All right, well, the edges bother me. That means we do need a different message for leave. That means we can't use common code anymore, doesn't it? Because we have to wait till we get the timeline to ask it what the range is. And technically the range for all of them is the same. They're going to be a little bit of a pain. Oh, were you an int? Yeah, so for this purpose, where'd I put you? Screen to time. Model X, now I've got Teslas. That did not work. So we are not getting the leave event. Well, that kind of went to the edge. That didn't. Mouse leave, mouse leave, mouse leave. You're only capturing mouse down, but maybe if it never bubbled up. Do you recognize not working? What does the body package do? No, it's browser. Yeah, you don't have leave events. There's visibility stuff, but we can't, exit intent. Prevent firing on all elements as the mouse out does. Document. Fire above scroll bar. Drag drop. So that's mouse out. Similar but different, it does not bubble. And mouse out does. Is fired when the pointer has exited the element and all of its descendants. Mouse out is fired needs the element or one. Okay, yeah. Window.event. Mouse is not pressed. Pressed, okay. Other HTML elements are filling the window. Yeah. So we're on a high level element. The browser package doesn't give us that event. So this might require JavaScript. I don't want to deal with this now. I just don't want to have to rewrite that function. And we'll just leave that as a thing for next time. So that's what I'm usually on. Let me see what's going on. I think I know what's going on. Actually, I should double check that. No, not explicitly. But thanks for watching. Not a whole lot of code going on. And I think Rainy might be having an anniversary stream, but I'm not sure. So we'll just pop in there. Plus, it's cool to hang out. Rainy Dash is doing 2 hours, 1 life, even though she says 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 life. That's where she's always at. Goodbye, and thanks for hanging out with me.